Hi guys, welcome to Mbali Talks, where we talk all things side hustles, how you can make money online, and just generally how you can gain a bit of financial freedom for yourself. In today's video, I want to share with you two platforms that you can check out if you're looking for a reliable way for you to make a second income stream online. These two platforms are actually good ideas for people that either have a full-time job and or are actually unemployed but do have a certain degree and or diploma in order for them to be able to make a bit of money online. The reason that these platforms are specifically for those types of people is the fact that they all work online, which means you can work from anywhere and you can work at any time. There's no set schedule. However, they do have a minimum amount of hours that they need for you to dedicate on a weekly basis to either of those platforms. So if that sounds like your vibe, then please don't be shy to hit the subscribe button so that you can join the Mbali Talks community. And also remember to always leave your notification bell on so that you never miss out on any of the content that happens right here. Without wasting any more of your time, let's get right into it. The first platform we're going to talk about is called Teach Me Too, which is basically a tutoring platform. As you can see here, they have a Trustpilot star of 4.5. I think it's actually 4.7 when you actually go on Google, which means that they are a trustworthy website that you can come onto if you want to make money online as a tutor. What I like about Teach Me Too is the fact that they offer both tutoring online or in person if you're someone who feels like you prefer a more physical interaction with your students. Also, they provide tutoring for grade 1s all the way to university. So I feel like they actually have something for everybody, which means you can teach maths, science, geography, biology, all the way to accounting, internal auditing, etc., which are basically subjects that you would only encounter at university. We're just going to click this Become a Tutor tab to see what actually Teach Me Too has to offer. Teach Me Too says you can choose from thousands of jobs, you get to tutor online or face-to-face, as well as build your resume, because I just feel like being an online tutor is actually one of the easiest ways for you to make a reliable second and or even third income stream for yourself. Like I said, they will require you on any of the platforms that I've suggested even here before for you to give them a minimum amount of hours. For some of the companies, you find maybe they require 10 hours a week, 12 hours a week, 15 hours a week, all the way to maybe even 20 hours a week, which obviously means being a tutor can also actually become a full-time job for somebody who actually is unemployed but is actually a graduate. Teach Me Too says they offer pretty much anything, which means they offer school subjects, university, languages, as well as coding. So what I like about the coding part is the fact that even if you're an IT professional who wants to go into the coding and or teaching kids how to code, Teach Me Too is actually a great platform that you can use in order for you to build that kind of resume for yourself. They also offer fantastic support. They say their award-winning support team manages your tutoring admin and helps you out whenever you need it. And also, of course, like every other platform, they do require you to give a bit of feedback as to how you are actually doing on their website and what it is that they can actually do to improve your experience as a tutor. So I just want us to scroll all the way to the bottom because I don't want us to spend a lot of time. You guys know what tutoring is. We've spoken about it before, but with each and every platform, you find there are different things that you might need to look into, which is why I like coming down to the FAQ questions. But before we can get to FAQ questions, I just want us to check if we actually qualify. So this is basically your first step when you come onto their platform, which I've actually put a link in the description box for, just to come here and check by answering these questions if you actually qualify for you to be a tutor. Number 1, you need to be 18 years and older. Number 2, you need to be willing to put the students' needs first for obvious reasons. This will be required on every platform that you teach on. Number 3, you need to have reliable transport for face-to-face tutoring as well as reliable internet for online tutoring. Personally, I often focus on the online tutoring aspect because I just prefer working from the comfort of my home where I could literally be sitting in pajamas but also be able to make a bit of money online. Also, you will need to provide your university transcript with at least 75% in the university subjects that you want to tutor. For example, I did auditing as one of the subjects in university and I actually got very good grades. So if I wanted to teach that on a platform like Teach Me Too, I would obviously have to supply them with my results to show that I know the subject and obviously that my grades made sense enough for me to feel like I can become a tutor. What I also like about Teach Me Too is that even though they are South African based, they do not discriminate, which means you need to either be a South African citizen or have a valid work visa. So if you have a valid work visa, or say maybe you have a spousal visa that you can turn into a valid work visa, then you'd be able to work on their platform. You also need to be committed and enthusiastic, because remember, you could easily be working with kids all the way from grade 1 to university. Those kids will need to see you looking enthusiastic and stimulating to them so that they can focus in school and on the subjects that you're actually tutoring. You will also have to provide a matric certificate with at least 80% in school subjects that you want to tutor, which is actually similar to the university requirement, because with the school subjects, it's actually a bit more easier for you to prove the grade than it actually is with the university, which is why with the schools projects, they require 80% instead of the 75. And also, lastly, you will have to provide supporting documents to verify the above points. Again, if you're somebody who wants to teach on their platform, my advice for you is to just get yourself a transcript of all the subjects you've done if you're a university student and want to teach school subjects, as well as if you are already qualified working individual who actually wants to teach the university. Like I said, I wanted to come down to the FAQs because I usually find sometimes that's where there's a lot of information of things that maybe may be going through your mind, but somebody else has already asked about. Question number 1, which is obviously the question we all want to have answered. How much do I get paid per hour and how often do I get paid? Teach Me Too says tutors' rates are set by their system and vary depending on what you are tutoring, so either school subjects or university subjects. You can expect to earn between 130 to 190 rands per hour. The rate is advertised on the job alert, so you can pick which jobs you want to apply for. Tutor payments are made twice a month for lessons confirmed in the period before. So for me, it basically means that you will get to decide how much you want to get paid on a platform like Teach Me Too by deciding which jobs to take up on, because again, each job has a varied amount, but you already know that the averages are between 130 as well as 190 rand. Another important question is finding out if you can continue tutoring privately, which means can you be on 2 different platforms at the same time, aka you are teaching on Teach Me Too, at the same time you're tutoring on, say, maybe Mbali and or the actual website that I'm going to share in the second part of this video. At Teach Me Too, they say absolutely, we don't ask for exclusivity at all, which means you can tutor on any other platform that you actually want to tutor on. They say you'll soon see why a majority of their client base will always end up being Teach Me Too clients. However, they do have a disclaimer. All clients that you meet through Teach Me Too need to remain Teach Me Too clients. They have a strict policy on circumvention in this regard, which means even if you meet a student and you feel like, oh my goodness, I'd actually like to spend more time with the student offline, you will not be allowed to do that. You will still need to come back onto their platform. And I feel like this is actually part of safety reasons for consumers as well, because they don't want consumers to be either shortchanged and or even for yourself to be shortchanged as a tutor, because you could teach someone offline and actually not get paid. Yet with their platform, it is regulated, so you will not have a problem with that. How many hours do I need to commit per week? The numbers of hours you work is absolutely up to you, which goes back to my point of saying on a platform like Teach Me Too, you can actually decide how much you want to get paid by setting your own schedule, deciding the hours that you want to work, as well as the projects and or tutoring students that you're actually going to take on, because they charge at different rates. So it's entirely up to you. You could be writing yourself a check of, say, maybe 1,000 USD all the way probably to 2,500 USD. You can convert that into rands for yourself so that you can understand how much money you can actually stand to make on a platform like Teach Me Too. But on a bare minimum basis, you are going to be able to make 130 rands per hour. So if you're able to teach, say, maybe 4 hours a day, you can look at yourself getting paid anything above 500 rand on a daily basis, which obviously you can use to create a stable second income stream for yourself. The second company that you can look into if you are looking for a way for you to create a second and or a stable third income stream is for you to come on Indeed and just search Tutor. As you can see here on their listing, there's various tutoring jobs that you can actually do. There's a maths tutor that is being looked for by Genius Premium Tuition, where they are willing to pay you 300 rand an hour. They do have a part-time as well as a full-time option, but you will obviously have to show them that you are qualified for you to actually be able to be a maths tutor. You can also be an English tutor through the same company, Genius Premium, and still get paid the same amount of money. So we can basically say that with Genius Premium Tuition, which is basically the company that wants to hire multiple candidates, as you can see here on this pink tab, their basic salary is 300 Rand per hour, which I feel like makes sense if you're somebody who's qualified to either be a teacher and or you've actually got experience tutoring on other platforms. Just say, like, for example, on Teach Me Too, you can always transfer your resume from them to be able to apply on companies just like the ones that are listed on Indeed, as a way for you to gain other companies that you can work for. And the reason I'm saying this is, when it comes to tutoring online, you find that there are certain platforms where the traffic and or the demand varies as the year goes by. So you don't want a situation where you've told yourself that you're making an extra 10,000 Rand per month only for you to end up in that dry season on a specific platform where you're now only making half of that money. So the only way for you to make sure that you don't fall into that trap is to diversify the number of teaching platforms that you're actually on, so that when one has a dry season, another actually has opportunities that you can look into to continue maintaining the same amount of money that you get to make on a monthly basis. There's also a company here called Bright Young Minds Tuition, where they offer Saturday tutoring. They say here they pay anything between 300 and 900 Rand a day. I just want us to read more on the full description of the job that they actually offer, so that we understand why you'd actually get paid 900 Rand a day. As you can see here, this job is a part-time basis, and they say at Bright Young Minds Tuition Center, they are based in Lambton, Germiston, which is a remedial center, urgently looking for part-time tutors to teach either English between grades 4 to 12 or high school mathematics. At Bright Young Minds Tuition, they say they are looking for experienced teachers and tutors or recently graduated teachers who genuinely care about creating tailor-made lessons to ensure successful learning in a positive and caring learning environment. So again, this is a great opportunity for someone who is recently graduated, because as I said at the beginning of this video, the companies will require you to have experience for those that I've actually mentioned. If you find yourself feeling like you don't have any experience at all of tutoring, there are other English and or maths tutoring platforms that I've actually mentioned in 2 different videos that are on my channel right now, which you can check out. But if you are in the teaching fraternity and or you have experience being a tutor, then platforms like Indeed as well as Teach Me Too are great options for you to be able to find a job. So I'm not going to go through all these jobs as you can see here, because there are many different types of jobs. There's companies like Tutors for You, where they pay 180 to 200 per hour. There's other companies where you can actually get more of a full-time job, as you can see here, with a fixed salary of between 24 all the way to 35,000 Rand per month. So I just feel like if you're somebody who wants to either be a tutor because you're qualified in the teaching fraternity, or you are a graduating student who's in the teaching fraternity, these 2 companies that I've actually mentioned in today's video are great options for you to either get a full-time job, working from home, working anytime that you want, setting your own schedule, or you want to actually use these platforms as a way for you to create a second and or a third income stream for yourself online. So this video was inspired by the fact that sometimes when I share some of these platforms for you to teach English and or maybe tutor online, people often feel like we only focus on international companies, and then they fear that they may not actually be able to get hired. That's besides the fact that I feel like that's a myth, because I do know people who work on some of the platforms that I have suggested before. However, I thought, let me just focus on companies that are more local, more closer to home, even though they are willing to hire you on a part-time as well as on a remote working basis. So that's what actually inspired today's video, and if you've enjoyed it, please don't be shy to hit the like button and reward me for all the work that has gone into it. Also, if you're in this part of the video and you have not subscribed, I am not sure what you're trying to do. Don't be shy, just hit the subscribe button and join the Mbali Talks community. And also, always remember to leave your notification bell on so that you never miss out on any of the content that happens right here. Otherwise, I wish you guys all the best in your efforts to either make money online, create a second income stream for yourself, and or even start a small business. I'm actually going to see you in the next Mbali Talks video. Cheers.